to invite Jack Johnson to come on up. And Jack is going to share a powerful personal story about waiting. When the Spirit moves in this community, it moves with a roar and not a whisper. And I don't know how many of you saw Jack's Facebook post. His parents didn't see it before he posted it. I think I might have been the first one to respond to it. But this came from Jack's heart on the weekend of Thanksgiving. And he wrote it to our community. And I thought, wow, I'm throwing out whatever it was I was preaching on. And Jack's going to read this to us.
How are you?
And it's a sermon. It's probably a year's worth of a sermon, but we're going to do it in a few minutes. So come on up, Jack.
My story and how I joined Parables and how I basically opened my eyes and heart for kids and adults with special needs. So when I was young and I met my first cousin who I loved and had so much fun with as a child. We always had laughs, we had our ups and downs, but mostly we had smiles. But then came a time when he joined the army, was about to, I guess, then, before he was about to leave, I believe on Thanksgiving, I can't remember, but I'll say Thanksgiving, we went to my elementary school, still went there. We had talked about how we would miss each other, then came the idea about nicknames from the Bible. I never actually heard my cousin's nickname, but he actually did think of one true name for me. And to this day, he nicknamed me Archangel. Of course I asked, why that name? Of course he said that the name Archangel for me meant a true hero and that something special would happen. Of course. There we go. When he left for the army, I waited for him to come back, of course. One day, still remember this, he had deserted the army, I think, in wanting to not be in there. And we had learned after that he had took his own life. Of course, I was young and I first didn't know what it meant. I grieved as normal when I grew up, but yep, here we go. But then something changed when I first stepped into Wayzata Community Church for my first parable service. First I felt alone, really just surrounded by darkness, but seeing these young adults and children, say a huge burst of light just shined, or ray, I guess, in front of me. I believe my cousin, Charles, meant by something special and new will happen in my life, was that I opened my eyes and heart to those who have a disability. And also believe God and my cousin together helped me through it all. Before, I just want to thank everyone for helping me through rough times and other stuff, but my cousin told me as well that I am Archangel. I will face rough times and may even lose someone close to you. But a new door will open, an array of light blocking out the darkness. And show you true light, because no matter what happens, you have support. And his last comment, of course, no matter what, show off the gift you have, because you have the wings of an archangel that will shield and protect the young, for you truly have deserved the name Archangel. And again, thank everyone for helping.
I happened to see that on Friday on Facebook. Had to throw out my sermon. What I want to say here, and it's hard to follow that, but Jack and his cousin, Charles, were playing a game. They were playing a game making up nicknames from the Bible, right? And it was something fun. And Charles came up with the name Archangel for Jack. Charles was Jack's cousin and friend, but I'd argue he was also a prophet. Prophets tell the future. They share what is to come. And Charles predicted that Jack would become a beloved archangel, the prince of all angels. And that confused Jack. He had no idea what that meant. His cousin explained he'd be a hero, and he would be given a special gift. But then Jack's cousin dies, and he doesn't get the answer. He doesn't get any more dialogue about this, and that grief must have been overwhelming. But over time, Jack never forgot what his cousin said to him. He had to wait, and wait, and wait for many, many years, and it finally did make sense. And it has to do with all of you in his life. Did you hear him? He said, something changed when I first stepped into this church, into parable service. I had felt alone in darkness, but seeing these people with special needs, this ray of light came on me. And I believe what my cousin Charles meant by something new would be that I'd open my eyes and my heart to those who have a disability. No matter what, he said, show the gift, because you have the wings of an archangel that will protect and shield the young. You have truly deserved the name Archangel. I remember the exact moment Jack realized this, 2 years ago, right at the beginning of Parables. His mother came to me and said, Jack wants to speak with you. Jack did not go into any of this detail, but he was trying to discern what is going on in his life because he felt his cousin's presence in our chapel in Parables like he had never felt before, right? And so some of you have been with us long enough to remember the day Jack got up in the chapel, and I see a few heads shaking, and said a magnificent prayer about his cousin Charles. He waited a very long time for discernment, for this to make sense, didn't he? And it took him 2 years to publicly go onto Facebook, which he never does. I'm telling you, Jack is silent on Facebook. And so for him to put this as his first post, unbelievable. But in the midst of the waiting and listening, he discovered a gift that God had planted deep inside of him, and that is caring for the young. Jack, the protector, Jack, the mentor, Jack, the comforter, Jack, the archangel. You see it every Sunday in Parables, do you not? Do you not see how quietly he ministers to all the younger children in this space? It is a sermon to behold. A sermon to behold for sure, and worthy of hearing again and again. So as we close, I want to share a short story about Abraham Lincoln. And I saw this, Betty and Autumn, in one of Bob Baggett's sermons. So I am stealing it. But it was really good, and I am not above stealing. Lincoln worshipped every Wednesday night, like wow, at a Presbyterian church by the White House. And one night, he comes out, and he's leaving the service, and the assistants say, Mr. President, what'd you think of the sermon tonight? And Lincoln responded, the content was excellent, and Dr. Gurley spoke with great eloquence. It was obvious he put a great deal of work into that sermon. Then you thought it was a great sermon, Mr. President. And Lincoln responded, no, I did not say that. But sir, you said it was an excellent sermon. And Lincoln replied, no, I said the content was excellent. The preacher spoke with eloquence, but Dr. Gurley forgot one important matter. He forgot to ask us to do something great.
Correct.
Well, lest I forget to ask you to do something great, let's take a page out of Jack Johnson's Advent book. Let's take a page out of waiting for the humility, waiting humbly for the God, the Lord of our hearts, to move and shape and mold us into the people that God intends each of us to be. Jack is an archangel. Let's find a nickname for each other, and let's live into it. And if we can do that, my friends, that will indeed be something great. Do I hear an amen?
Amen.